it's your fault. Saying this is where we came from and this is where we're going. It's not going nowhere. The conversation is always going to be there, no matter what. But trying to bury something and different things like this, like that, this is what we get today. And I think that's the problem. Can we just, can people from both sides just be like, yes, it happened. How can we fix this? If not, they just have an understanding of history. That's our history. And the thing is, the more some people want to bury it, to say it wasn't us, and I'm like, no one wants nothing from it at all. Just acknowledging it happened, and that's about it.
No, I get that. And we should acknowledge. We should acknowledge a lot of things, like the various 5 land grants. We should acknowledge the fact that we were, as a nation, literally had a policy, like a national federal policy, and a lot of states like California trying to be all great. That they pushed and got legislation to ban all Orientals. Yes, they called them Orientals back then, but they had an anti-Asian exclusion, right? We had turned Asian Americans or Japanese Americans or anyone we called, what was the term? Nibs or zips, whatever they call them. Nibs from World War II. We rounded them up, took their land. This is the most egregious shit. People talk about reparations on this shit. They took these Japanese people, put them in one of 4 camps, mind you. The one was really fucking bad. But, and then gave reparations to the tune of I think it was 10 to 20,000, depending on which camp you were in, and you had to prove you were in. George Takei from Star Trek was in one of them. He gave a whole big speech about this shit, and he was really pissed off just for even getting it from Ronald Reagan. They got 20,000. But here's the thing: they never got their land back. So a lot of these guys were farmers. They were big time. They had land houses. They were all set up. They were as American as you and I, and they lost absolutely everything. They lost their wealth, their assets. They were just, the government took it and then never gave it back. And I was floored by this, that people didn't realize they got reparations. Yeah, but what was taken from them was so fucking worth more. Imagine you had land in California. Today, fuck no. There's all those vineyards. That racist fucking cracker, Alan Dean, that motherfucker is probably resting on some Japanese land who had a farm there, and now he's crying about black people. That shit happened. And then
one of the band's lost son making the tool of the lasers.
Music, instruments, letters, words, songs, artwork. It's literally in museums. I'm pissed off at the fact that everyone's mad at Trump and the Smithsonian which they debunked this one, but basically the Smithsonian taking down certain black art or museums doing this. I do not understand why people are mad at the museum taking it down when you're not mad at saying, hey, give that fucking piece of art back to that family. That was stolen. You know how many pieces? There's so many of those. Most of them were bought on the black market. The museums, they're really great at that. But there is a significant portion of Black American history art that is stolen, literally from black people. Nobody wants to argue that. It's weird that we don't talk about it, and I agree with you. We should talk at great lengths about these.
I think people do talk about that. But to that point, is this just about Charlie Kirk's legacy or about marginalized folks?
It can be about pretty much where you're at. We're staying around the Charlie Kirk thing, but I'm going to wander in and out because there's other topics I want to bring into this and other facets, because I'm really pissed off that Annapolis had to go into lockdown yesterday. There was a shooting at Annapolis, Maryland. For those of you who don't know, the greatest officers in any branch of the service are born there. Those are the United States Naval officers. They are the only ones that matter. They have the men's division of all the military forces. So let's keep that in mind. We want to really protect those boys and girls. So make sure you're aware of that. But go ahead.
Yes, they love the scene.
They were part of this whole operation. And he said, I don't know about that, but the planes left from Qatar, fueled up in Qatar, landed in Qatar, came back to Qatar, and left from Qatar. But didn't that disprove what I said? But you take it the whole color. That was false.
Hey, but I was saying with Brad, I told you, don't talk about it. Whatever. But the thing is that it's that way that Subi Fumikata played not or tried other lines that don't and I just feel like if people don't get their mind right now, we're gonna have like a big control.
I'm kind of cutting in and out, but Hikima Denti, the Better American, you can feel free to chime in. Anybody can come up on stage.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk, just for a brief moment, even though he doesn't really need any of his name in my mouth, absolutely. But I just think that like this like left-right division of like how people are looking at this, it's not really nuanced at all. It's like the guy said some things that were, I mean, not just dog whistles, right? These are like things that actually like impact people's lives. Basically saying this is like going back to like the white eugenics and like the supreme kind of shit. And I think when that happens, and based on other things that he said about guns and stuff like that, like a lot of people are like, yeah, good, dude got what he deserved. Like I'm hearing that throughout like where I am politically. And then I'm also saying, like, dude, this is just a person, and there was like a 4-year-old who got shot 560 times, and no one's talking about that, So I think that this whole, like, thing around, like, him being, like, a white dude, it's just, like, obviously there would be not the same weight. It doesn't hold the same weight as the George Floyd. It doesn't hold the same, he does not hold the same weight as the Martin Luther King. But what he did do is he did challenge people on issues that were, inflammatory. And if that's what you wanted to make your money on that. America is good for that. America has, people who do that all the time. Alex Jones being one of them, But to sit there and like create not just like tears in society about actual race, like just like race wars and identity politics, and like really going into like these like real things about like, oh, well, you must be this X because you believe in Y. And that's what we've been doing. And people like that have been are Charlie Kirk. Like Charlie Kirk is that person. Charlie Kirk has done those things. I think his legacy will go down for him being an anti-black. And here's the thing: is like people are like, well, point out his racism. Well, he's just always talked about how black people need to like essentially pull themselves up by their bootstrap. And with that kind of like with that verbiage and with that person, it's easy to understand how that person thinks if they're coming from a mindset of debating another person, whether they're white, black, Asian, Latino, Puerto Rican, whatever, about the simple thing of like, well, black people's brains are smaller and less developed. And it's just like when you go to that.
Charlie Kirk never said that.
I don't remember him saying that at all. I was gonna wait till he's finished, but I never said that. I don't remember him saying that at all.
Charlie Kirk goes into a thing about eugenics and about
Can you pull it up because I have his entire thing here. But you said Charlie Kirk on eugenics. Do you have the date or?
I'm literally just speaking, but I could pull it up. Yeah.
Okay. Because one of the things too is I've always. I don't mean to cut you off, brother. That's just when for example, as a black African man here, I'm not from my ancestors probably were from Africa, but I'm from America. African American, I should say. I have told niggas to get their shit together constantly. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Nobody's gonna fucking save you. No, but you don't. Again, this is not the type of world we live in. There's a lot of broke, fucked up white folks out here. Every time I drive to go get me something to eat in Portland,
there's white folks on the fucking street starving. Okay, you know, I'm pretty sure Charlie Kirk felt like these niggas need to get their shit together too. Okay, but again, it's just like when we throw this whole aspect of racism because he says something that makes black people cringe.
No,
Like that's not racism, man.
No, you're right. It is not racism, but he's also not pointing out those white people in Portland, right?
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to though. That still doesn't make it racist. When I'm talking about like a certain, if I'm talking about a certain community, and that's where the crux of my argument is. I don't need to bring other communities into the conversation. Okay, I can have that conversation without doing that. Just because if I'm getting on white folks' case and saying, "Oh well, Asian people do it too, or black people do it too, or vice versa." Again, I say this. I just find that whole argument disingenuous. But go ahead.
I mean, the argument isn't disingenuous. He basically talks about black people as if they're less than.
Let's be honest here. This is fair standing. You also believe that it becomes a problem when you're a terrorist, you don't wear a uniform, you declare yourself to be an army and a resistance fighter, and you're hiding within civilians in the same clothing that they're wearing. Don't you think that people should take some type of responsibility of their actions and say, hey, let's actually protect the people. Let's do what BB stood. Let's protect the people of the country that we're living in.
Hey, BB, can you put me in the queue? This is John. If you could put me in the queue, I just want to read from the Tanya for 60 seconds, if you could, whenever you're ready. But I'd like to just reset the room by doing 60 seconds of Tanya whenever you're ready. Okay, hold on. Now I gotta find the book. I put it in the chat. We'll give me.
Okay, guys, let me go. Who was this? I'm just going to say, let me speak. Yeah, I know Cypher and Reverend. For those of you that don't know Mr. Charles, I'm going to have you go next. But if you don't know this man, Charles, I have been on Clubhouse for 5 years. And there have been a lot of people that preach Bible, preach God, preach all their religions and all of this stuff. I have met maybe, I can count on my hand, 5 people off of this app that actually practice it, say the same thing over and over again, and validate and back it up. Even when I have gone toe-to-toe in screaming matches against them. If you don't know who they are, I'm going to introduce you to one. His name is Charles right here. This man speaks it, walks it, lives it, drinks it, eats it, and does everything up, builds with it. And he does not change his rhetoric. He never moves from his stance. He's said the same thing for 5 years. He's never wavered. And even in the most difficult circumstances, even the most contentious conversations, he'll either say, I don't know, I don't have an answer, I'll have to contemplate on that. Go ahead, Charles, take it away. And the rest of you should click on him and follow him and listen to some of the words he says, because the world would be a better place if he did.
Well, what's going on towards Mr. Kirk, and I vehemently disagree with Mr. Kirk's politics and talking points. But to say that he's racist, well, we don't know Mr. Kirk, so we can't say whether he's racist or not. That's not fair. He may not be a racist, but he has said some things that I believe are racist things. And I can give you just a couple of them. But we can't judge his heart and then say he is this when we don't know the man. And there were a lot of people that love this man. So we have to be careful in speaking about the death of this man. Same thing happened when, the Nation of Islam in the 60s hated black people. But when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, Malcolm X made some unfortunate comments. They had a lot of truth to them, but they were unfortunate comments because the nation loved this man. You have to be sensitive to people who are in mourning. We cannot lose our humanity in the name of our ideology. And I've seen some horrible things that people have said about Mr. Kirk. The worst thing, it almost made me cry, but the worst thing I heard somebody say was they put up a picture, and Lord, I hope this person loves me.
Okay, I got the Tanya ready.
For the first time in our life, we can actually seriously die for our opinion.
Yes, which is very problematic.
Yeah, so it's got to the point where it matters what you think, because someone will kill you for it. And if very heavy, so you're fighting a heavyweight, you're a featherweight. It truly matters what comes out of your mouth because they'll whoop you harder. And I guess in this boxing match, Israel is the heavyweight, and Qatar is the featherweight at the moment because, you know, Qatar tried to mind their business, but they're catching strays right now because, you know, Qatar's...
but at the same time, listen, so if we're going to do your analogy about a boxing match, and obviously you'd have to sign up to that boxing match to be involved in a boxing match with a heavyweight and you're a featherweight, don't you think you should take some type of responsibility and realize you're about to get into a fight with a heavyweight, that you're probably going to get your fucking nose broke or lose a couple of teeth? Don't you think that there should be an evaluation that should be done first?
No, you're not going to tell me why. That's an intimidation I've ever heard. And Qatar is a fake state. It's not a real state. It's basically a U.S. military base that's stuck in between Iran and the Khalid states. And if you don't think for a minute that Qatar signed off on Israel hitting them, they're doing the dirty work. You have to be fucking retarded to think that the Emir of Qatar and the family there didn't know what exactly was about to happen.
I don't think that you did.
That's
You just cut me
crazy
off.
stupid, man.
You just
That's
cut me off
crazy
with all that
stupid.
stuff. I never said none of that.
No, you did. You said
You didn't
that
say it.
Qatar was minding its own business.
Which is
How
true.
fucking retarded do you have to be to think that Qatar has anything? Qatar has never minded its own business. Qatar has... Oh, shut the fuck up. The only thing Qatar has done... All right. We'll go like this. Since you can't learn, since your mother raised a fucking animal in a barnyard, you're going to have to sit down there and listen. Qatar has never not minded its own business. Qatar's entire existence is fucking in other people's foreign policy. This is the whole purpose of Qatar. It's a swing state stuck between the Shia and the Sunni. Put your fucking microphone back on. Put your microphone back on. Good boy. Put your microphone back on. There you go. All right. You want to play a game? No problem. You're a fucking retard. That's all. Sorry. Go ahead, Derek.
You're on fire.
Okay, I'm ready to read the Tanya and help give you that hard light reset you're all looking for.
My God, the shit that you hear on the app is insane.
All right, everybody. This is called the Prophet of Sadness, the 26th entry of the Tanya. It says, "In every sadness there will be profit. What is the profit in sadness? A broken heart shatters the self and the glittering shell of selfishness that seems to separate you from God. A broken spirit, a broken heart, you will not despise. When your heart is broken over the suffering you have caused, your sense of otherness is shattered, and you can no longer ignore the suffering of others. You are able to hear joy and gladness. Just as you recite a blessing for good fortune, so you must recite a blessing for misfortune. Why? Because your suffering attunes you to the suffering of others, and being so attuned breaks your heart, allowing the light of God to pierce the iron ball of isolated self. Hence it is written, the Most High abides in secrecy." This is the commentary. The way of awe through Torah is not for everyone, nor is the way of mitzvot, spiritual practice. So the Alter Rebbe offers yet another path, the way of the broken heart. The heart conditioned by the isolation of the Sitra Achra, the other side of God that denies your connection with God, is encased in Kalipanoga, the glittering shell of selfishness. Such a heart is hard yet also brittle. It loves what it loves for its own ends, and because it loves this way, it often causes needless suffering that ultimately destroys what it loves. When love is lost, there is heartbreak, a moment of sadness so sharp as to crack the shell of selfishness. When the shell is cracked, you experience the suffering of others, and because you experience the suffering of others, you connect with them. This connection is the voice of joy and gladness. Hence, even a moment of great sadness can be a moment of greater transformation. For in that sadness, and self recognizes its interconnection with the other. In this way, God realization, Da'at Devakut, is the secret profit in even the most terrible suffering.
finish what I was trying to say earlier, that would be nice.
What his judgment is between him and God, right? We have the ability as free living human beings to feel however we want to feel about the things that man says, because it does have consequences. Words and wars always started with words, and words can produce war or peace. That man was not speaking about peace. That man was not shitting on white folks the way he was doing black people, right? So it's clear as to who he was. And I don't think that anything about that, if it's being fathered at home and reared at home with his children, well, then they could be subject to the same kind of ideology and reckless behavior. And I hope that they don't go down that route.
I appreciate the submission. Couple things. I'm gonna give it to some here to Sarah. I say this is not directed towards Cypher. I'm just talking about generally. I always find it hypocritical because he mentioned that Tupac was a good man. Tupac rapped about degeneracy. Okay, a lot of black rappers, rap about degeneracy, killing and causing absolute chaos. Again, when we hear these. I'm sorry, I could have sworn you said he was a good man. You said Tupac, he was a good man. We were going your soliloquy. I could have sworn you said that. You didn't say that?
I didn't say that.
Okay, let's just say, I'll take that back. If you said you say it, I won't say you said it. If you say you say it, I could have sworn you said that, but let's just say you didn't say it. The overall aspect of it, again, I don't have a problem, me personally. I think most people don't have a problem if you don't like Charlie Kirk and you're not saying, I mourn him, I don't care about him. That is perfectly fine. What people have an issue with is the celebration and mocking of the death. Because again, for example, Philando Castile and things like that, when we see black injustice, I know for a fact, and I'm not talking about Cypher because Cypher is an individual, but I'm pretty sure the black diaspora is not going to be okay if white America got up and started clowning people like Philando Castile and others. Not saying that they didn't do it, but it was still frowned upon if they met an untimely demise. Okay? This is where the humanity aspect comes in. I think what Brother Charles was talking about. You don't have to like your enemy. Okay? You don't have to like them. You don't have to mourn and cry online and carry on and so forth. You don't have to do all that. It's like, but most human beings are like, you know what? I didn't like this individual, but I don't wish anybody being executed like that in front of the family, bro. Death is a serious thing. It's not for play. There's no extra men. You're out of here. You're out of here.
That's right,
okay.
Brother.
And people take that. And again, the older, I'm not that old, but the older that people get, people start to realize and start to understand that, hey, this is not a joke. Of course, when we're younger, we sit back and we joke around about death because we think we're invincible and shit ain't gonna come for us. It comes for all of us. And sometimes it's not gonna be pretty. A lot of black people have gone out kicking and screaming, and not in peaceful ways, and there have been white folks that have celebrated and mocked it, and it has not been good or fun to see or hear. And I know a lot of black people in general don't like that. But my thing is, in generally speaking, if you don't like that, don't do it to other people. Okay? People can be militant. I've been in those, again, I've said this before, I've been in those militant black groups. I've listened to these individuals speak on a multitude of occasions, whether it's Sinetta, Brother Polite, whether it's Young Pharaoh, or whoever it is that people want to talk about within those smaller circles of our community that espouse some very, very venomous and nasty rhetoric when it comes to other ethnicities and cultures. It is not just white folks that they're talking about. If you listen to a lot of what they're saying. So again, we hear these things that exist on both sides. If Charlie Kirk was spouting ignorance, the man was 31 years old. If he was spouting ignorance, that's just what it was. Ignorance. Everybody doesn't agree with that. Some people agree with what he was saying. So some black people that agree with what he was saying. People from all ethnicities may agree with what he's saying, not just white folks. Okay? And I don't believe Charlie Kirk looked at blacks in overall as the enemy. I understand that I may not have agreed with some of his takes. I thought that some of his takes may have been ignorant.
That's bullshit.
Okay, but I don't think that he looked at as black people as an overall enemy to his people.
That's so
okay.
Thomas, respectfully, I'm just saying if that's your point of view.
Wait. Hey, no, people don't interrupt you. I don't allow anybody to interrupt. I allow people to have their own.
I'm just saying that's super good.
Well, that's your opinion. Thomas is entitled to his. Is he not? Isn't that what the whole point is?
Yeah.
That's why Charlie Kirk was shot, because people. Wait, hold on. Authentic. He was speaking his opinion. You can
I'm disingenuous.
No, it's not. He can have his opinion. You do not get to determine his opinion.
Skip, Brad. I'm just saying I feel like he's being fucking disingenuous. Jesus.
Okay, you can be disingenuous down there. I don't care what your view is. You can wait till he's done. Sarah's next, and then we're gonna go to Bert. And you can let Thomas land his opinion. Go ahead. I allow everybody to have it on the stage, regardless of which side you are. So don't condemn someone else for having an opinion, because clearly we just had a shooting and somebody died because they had an opinion that's different from yours. And this is the problem that we're having a discussion about today, because you can't take somebody's opinion, wait till they're done, and then you get irritated and then go disingenuous. So they need to be silenced. I need to interrupt them because I'm more important. You did that, not me. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. Now, listen, I don't mind people disagreeing. I want to have the back and forth. Let's have the dialogue. I don't mind that whatsoever. I would have definitely, been willing to hear why he felt like I was being disingenuous. But be that as it may, to Brad's point, again, we all have our opinions. I'm just coming from, and again, I am appealing to morality. I absolutely am. Okay? And when I stop based on what I'm saying, but I'm also trying to call out the hypocrisy, because I know how sensitive my community can be, especially when it comes to their own. Even if they've been known criminals, okay? I've seen people, I have been around people that have murdered people, okay? Taking like Charlie Kirk hasn't murdered anybody. He's just said things people don't agree with or may not like. I've seen people in my community murder people that I've known personally, went to school with these motherfuckers, and people want to sit back and act as if, well, you know what? He was, he was a good guy. He was on his way to do whatever, okay, and so forth. And we don't want people talking, especially other groups, talking bad about them. I've seen it. You can't talk about it. I don't care if he was murdering niggas. You don't talk bad about him, okay? He was our people, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, again, I get it. I'm just saying here, but let's just have a little bit of humanity, my guys. That's all in there.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Shit. All right. Thanks, Brad. Thomas, you hit some amazing points that I was going to bring up anyway. Something dawned on me today was that I read, so first of all, the people who were celebrating Charlie's death, it was a disgusting display of kind of a very childish viewpoint of debate, and very authoritarian, and anybody who thinks that he deserved to die because of his opinions, I think they're quite small-minded, and yeah, you can think that, Cypher, whatever, I don't care what you think. That's the whole point of being a human being, is you have to hold your own and defend your opinion without silencing the other person. And in terms of the race war that's going on in the US, and it is spilling over in the UK, it's funny, because it dawned on me today that in the last few months, there have been murders on either side. But what was remarkable to me today, which really gave me hope, was that this killer who killed Charlie Kirk, his father brought him in. But that college kid who got stabbed on campus, the one who was a twin, there was a GoFundMe, everybody on the black side were like, nah, fuck him, it was self-defense, even though there was nothing to suggest it was. And it's funny how one side can be accountable even to their own and be straight up with it, but the other side celebrates, demonizes the other side. And I think that's a big problem. It's a brain rot. It's a virus of the mind, and it's a disgusting, disingenuous display of humanity, and I don't like it. But would I kill you? No, because I believe that you would have to atone to God, and if you celebrate somebody dying in front of their family and you think it's a good thing, then you're just showing that Christ isn't in your heart, and I feel sorry for you.
Y'all literally celebrate and make Charlie Kirk a hero after he talked about all types of different groups of people, marginalized people. And now you want to act like you on some assholes, like, how dare someone feel this kind of way? That dude was a racist, a bigot. He was a piece of shit. And no one's saying he deserved to die.
I never said.
Lady, I'm still talking. Mute your mic. No one's saying he deserves to die. we just said we're not surprised that someone wanted to kill him. That's all that's being said. Like dude spoke violent shit out his mouth, wicked shit out his mouth, and therefore, like, he got what the universe had for him. So don't be surprised.
It wasn't the universe. It was another human.
Sir, can you just hold in mind? And then after yours and Hakim's exchange, I'm gonna go. Y'all literally celebrate him like he's Dr. King or like he's Malcolm X, like he's somebody that's preaching something positive. He's an evil, wicked dude, and he brought evil right into his home, right in front of his children. He brought it right there, and he didn't mind spewing his bullshit in front of other people's children. So who gives a fuck about that?
Sarah, I'm gonna let you respond to that. I just want to say, I think a lot of people in our community. That's why first of all, let me make this very clear. I don't think when you say people are not, celebrating his death, respectfully, they are. That's number one. Number two, when you want to say that he was a piece of shit, that's fair. If you feel like he was a piece of shit, cool. If you don't like him, cool. Okay. I don't think people are upset that people don't like Charlie Kirk. When he was alive, a lot of people didn't like Charlie Kirk. So it's not a surprise. Like people are. I think you guys are straw manning and missing the argument. What I'm saying, let me bring KK up here. She's got to come up here. What I'm saying is that celebrating someone's demise, especially as heinous as it was, is probably not very up and up to do. And let's just say, and I'll lay here, let Sarah jump in. If I remember correctly, we did the same thing to George Floyd. A lot of us try to memorialize him. We put someone bought I think it was what's the boxer's name? That bought him a gold casket, and we got murals and everything of this dude. And if allegedly he was a criminal, okay. So again, holding people out. Regardless, my point is that let's not act as if we're surprised that there are people that are wanting to memorialize Charlie Kirk for being quote unquote taken too soon, just like the black community did when George Floyd was taken from us too soon. Let's not act as if we're surprised by this, like you were eloquently saying. We need to be honest about the situation. You don't have to like him. You don't have to, feel bad that he died. Celebrating is the issue, and people are celebrating. Go ahead, Sid.
No, thanks for that. That's what I was going to say. People are celebrating. Can't gaslight me and say that isn't happening. And I wasn't referring to you. So thanks for bringing your ego.
Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, let's go to Bert because Bert's been patiently waiting.
I appreciate that.
Can I go last, guys?
Interesting.
We got you, Cypher.
Didn't Cypher go already?
It's okay to get back in the queue. You can get back in the queue. So good.
Alright, cool. Anyways, my comments are not about the personality of Kirk anymore than my comments could be about the personality of Malcolm X. And what I'm going to bring out here is one simple thing. He was a person who inspired a lot of people in positive ways. Just like he would say Malcolm X has inspired people in many positive ways. Doesn't mean I agree with everything either of those gentlemen preached. But I will say, just particularly two people on the panel here are espousing things in a way that is exactly what he preached against. And exactly what even I would say Martin Luther King would have preached against. Malcolm X to some extent.
Okay, this is health and
the point of being able to say, hey, I have a different view without being called a racist, a bigot, a Nazi, a fascist, etc. As he has been called for years, and even in the past week, heard it ramped up even. Van Jones and other chief personalities and such. I'm such a racist because he said this and this. Except he didn't say that. And he even had if you go back and look at the last podcast he did, where he even addressed it and took it apart, he goes, okay, he said I said this. Now let's look at what I actually said. No, that's not what I said. And that's what I hear a lot of going on here. No, he was not a racist. Not at all. He did not believe in the inferiority or superiority of any race. He did not believe in treating any individual better or worse because of their race. He did not believe in anything that would have been interpreted in the sense of being putting anyone down. What he did do was question a lot of things. He questioned puberty blockers for kids and surgeries. He questioned DEI movements and their effectiveness. He questioned a lot of political corruption as he saw it. And he said things that pissed a lot of people off, but he did not do it for clickbait. He did not do it just to make people mad and get a engagement. He's 100% sincere. And he is also a man of faith. And I would hope that some people would, and Charles, actually, thank you, even though I understand your criticisms of him go deep, that you did give him honor in that sense, I think. His faith, my cousin's son, who's about in his 30s, came to faith through Charlie Kirk and got baptized. My son, occasionally will say, "Oh, I saw this TikTok," and he thought he had a good argument. My son, by the way, is by adoption, and from a mother who was in crisis pregnancy and chose to not have an abortion, and he knows that, and he appreciates when someone stands up for the right to life and for the unborn. And when people say, it's a free country, I can actually compare him to Martin Luther King in a way. He was a person who stood up, who wanted to make his country better, who fought against the powers that be, who inspired many people to want to do better. I want to do better. And that's, I think a legacy. When you say he will be forgotten, he will have a legacy. Sorry, bro. His legacy is not a rock your world. Things are just getting started.
Hey, Brad, can I say something real quick?
And,
hold on. Bert, did you land?
And I'm just going to say, yeah, it's not by any means over. The dialogue's not over. The thing that I've done after reading hundreds of social media posts, listening to conversations like this, is start to invite people into dialogue in real life, not in Clubhouse. And that is going to make, I think, a bigger difference. I'm purposely committing to strengthening my relationships with people who have different views and come together and talk about them. And that is definitely, thank you, Charlie Kirk's legacy.
Bright sun that blinds out the rest of Jewish history because it's such a massive event. But if you go past the Holocaust and go before, a 250,000 Jews were killed in the pogroms and the Pale settlement. No, probably not. In 25 years, 250,000 Jews were killed. It's our entire history. This has been going on, and I don't think it's fair to you to say that. Do you think it's a perceived threat? It's very much a real threat.
That's like holding a gun.
There is a real threat.
You know what? You're holding a gun to someone's head, and you're threatening to kill them. And when they react, you say, "Hey, come on, what's wrong with you?"
No.
What a question.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel like it's not being funny here, but no. Or not biblical. Honestly. Yeah, it's not biblical. And where's good involved here?
I don't think there is. I think that God is. I don't know.
So you're suggesting that God inspired Hitler and then his Muslim foot soldiers from Bosnia and Turkey and Egypt, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just kind of going off the fact that if it's something a biblical war, God tends to be involved somewhere.
Hello, moderators. This is John. I'd like to be put in the queue for 60 seconds. Thank you.
It wasn't needed, bro. You could have just spoke.
Yeah, we're chatting now.
Like, you could literally just obviously make it weird. Why do people
I'm not trying to make it weird, but sometimes if you don't interject, people can talk for hours. Can I read moderators for 60 seconds? Thank you.
Is this how you act in real life?
On the train, they be like this. Hey, guys, wait a
Halos are
minute.
just
60 seconds.
60 seconds to ask for 60 seconds. What's going on? Okay, I don't know. You got different worlds.
Okay, this is the 21st entry of the Tanya God's speech. God's speech is not. Hey, mute up. Mute up. Mute your mic. 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 Okay, here we go. This is called God's speech number 21. God's speech is not like your speech. When you utter a word, the word seems outside of you, but there is nothing outside of God, and no place is empty of him. Even when God speaks and words become worlds, absolute union of God and creation is unbroken, and hence God has not changed. As breath is veiled in sound, becoming word to a listener, so God's light is veiled in form, becoming creation to the created. God perceives no other, for everything is God without distinction. This is what is meant when it is written that darkness and light are the same to God. Even the shells of self are not other than God, just as a turtle shell is not other than the turtle. Thus it is written, Yahweh is Elohim. This is the commentary. Deuteronomy 4:35, Yahweh, the four-letter Hebrew name of God, represents the transcendent, and Elohim represents the immanent.
Oh, you're good, man.
All right, we'll go back to your low IQ communication. Good Shabbos.
Listen, Johnny, I admit that we're good right now. You told us about God, and
That was really good.
understand.
No, my God, that was really good. Who jokes aside? That was really
To know one. But at the end of the day, this dude didn't show value to all people. So this dude is sitting here promoting racism. He's promoting white slave ownership. He wanted us to actually go back to slavery as the way of living. Like that. I don't know why some of y'all are bumping this dude up so high. Yeah, he's a smart dude, but at the end of the day, what he was promoting, you gotta remember this. I don't give a fuck what age you are right now, but our kids gotta fight what you leave behind.
But he didn't. I'm sorry, but he didn't promote that.
Let him finish.
Yeah,
Let him finish. Let him finish.
I think he's had long enough to reply. He hasn't.
Yeah, but did you allow that man to land his plane though? Respectfully.
Okay, but he was replying to me.
He's been landed like me. Okay, so like, yeah, like Uncle, I'll get you to land your plane. I will opinions out there, but your statement is going to get challenged. I'm going to encourage you to stay in the stage. Hold on a second. I encourage you that, to either going to ask you to source. People are going to ask. I'm going to ask you to source some of these things that you stated, and where you're getting your opinions from. But like this room it is conservative bias. I make no pretenses about that. I don't hide it. I am a conservative. Most of my mods are Republicans, or some facet of it. Most of them believe in Christianity. However, I do not tolerate any anti-religious slamming. I don't really care who you practice, preach to, or whatever. I don't have that inner dynamic. I really don't give a damn about race, but since this is a topic that's going to significantly seem to consistently draw, despite my best efforts never to allow it to go there, this is going to be about race. So, we can touch on these, we can go, and Charlie Kirk was speaking on race, so let's have this discussion. But, this is what we want, but Uncle, you finish your point, and then we're going to allow other people to touch on that and challenge what you stated, and I'm going to allow people to.
Just remember God's AQ, Brad. That's all I got.
Sorry, who's after him, please? I would love to join the queue. If I could join the queue as well. I got you guys. Just go ahead, Uncle, and we'll go from there. America,
all right. So all I'm, and it wasn't to improving this country's unity. It wasn't. He wanted certain people to be over certain people, And that's just not how it's going to go in this United States. And I'll land it right there.
Okay. Cypher, I know you were supposed to be next after him. Did you want to hold your point?
That was a reply to me.
I could get it out because he was interrupted a billion times. I'll go as quick as I can to get out the way, right? I agree with at least 97.9% of everything that the brother said. I've struggled to find something I disagree with. But to the rhetoric, to people that are being jolted by this truth, you guys want us to listen to your side, right? But I see that you're struggling to listen to another side, which is lacking of empathy. And I also see a struggle with dissonance. There's a lot of people that are trying to water down what this man has been saying this whole time and justifying it and twisting his words into something that could never be, which is righteousness. Nothing about what he stood for in his character demonstrated anything Christ-like or Christian-like. Because if you're getting into that, he wouldn't be so focused on racism in the black community, considering what his people have caused to that particular community, which happens to be also the children of God. And I know that the reason why people are coming off a mic right now, the reason why a lot of people are coming off mic right now is because they're emotionally triggered. This is an indictment of people's character because they align themselves with these racial epithets and talking points. And this is also what's being taught at home, both in black communities and in white communities, because there's a polarization with our race relationships based off of events that have never been dealt with. And I have to charge white people with this. You are charged with the creation of racism, so it is your problem to fix. Black folks, it is our problem to heal from, right? We're responsible for how we deal with this. They are responsible for how they correct it. And it will be corrected by their children who will grow up in a world with access to information that will judge even their parents. And most of them will be despised of them, and they'll be able to breathe them out of existence because that mindset also hurts other whites. That mindset hurts the planet in itself. It holds humanity back from growth. What black folks also tend to do, though, is that sometimes we get into this victim mentality, right? As if we don't have the ability to bear arms and fight back, as if we don't have the ability to teach our children better, as if we're waiting on somebody that doesn't want us to get up on our feet to help us out, right? So there is some bootstrapping that man was talking about that I do agree with, but from the position that he was speaking of, it was